So, I want you to picture this. A universe, completely built, every detail perfect, but it's totally silent. You've got this vast, intricate creation that exists only as pure potential, sealed off from the very flow of life itself. Now, Kabbalistic sources tell us this is what the cosmos was like after its foundational code got corrupted. A world just waiting.
Yeah, it's like a grand symphony. Every instrument is tuned, every musician is sitting there, the music is on the stand, ready to go, but the entire orchestra is just sitting in complete and utter silence, just waiting for the conductor to finally drop the baton. That was the state of the worlds. The whole system was in standby mode. All this potential, but it just couldn't activate. And the big question was what, or, who, could possibly press play?
And this is the amazing part. The key to this whole cosmic activation, this universal reboot, it wasn't some divine word shouted from on high or some crazy celestial event. The secret, which the masters have hidden for generations, is that the key was the consciousness and the actual life of a single man, Abraham. And the entire code for this massive unlocking is hidden inside one single word in the book of Genesis. Okay, let's really get into this. All right, here's our roadmap for today's journey. We're going to start with this problem of a dormant creation. Then we'll meet the solution, this principle of expansion embodied by Abram. We are absolutely going to decode the secret hidden in that single word, then look at the nuts and bolts of the cosmic engineering that rebooted the universe, and finally, we'll see how this whole legacy continues right now through us. To really get the solution, we have to understand just how big the problem was. The sin of Adam, well, it wasn't just some moral slip-up. It was a total systemic catastrophe. The Sefer Avodat HaKodesh puts it in really stark terms, saying, the unity was sundered and the worlds were corrupted. This wasn't just a minor bug in the code. It was a full-blown system crash. The entire divine architecture was compromised, and that flow of life-giving energy, it was severed right at the source. Right, and this quote really frames the whole problem in this very mechanical, almost physical way. I want you to think of the cosmos as this incredibly complex hydraulic system designed to channel divine flow, or shefa, from the infinite all the way down into our reality. Well, this source is telling us those channels, the sinorot, were literally clogged. The whole engine just seized up, and this blockage of life-giving energy left all the worlds totally misaligned, static, and, for all intents and purposes, dormant.
Okay, and this brings us to the sod, the secret level of all of this. Mystically speaking, the universe at this point is kind of like a giant compressed data file, a cosmic zip file, if you will. All the information for every single star, every soul, every blade of grass, it all existed, but it was latent. It was totally inaccessible and non-functional. The potential was there, sure, but there was no way for it to be expressed.
Exactly. And inside a compressed file, nothing actually does anything, right? There's no growth, no interaction, definitely no life. It's just a blueprint without a building. It's a seed that can't sprout. The universe was basically stuck in a read-only state, just waiting for someone to run the program that would unpack it all and actually bring it to life.
So if the problem is constriction, blockage, and this latent state, then the solution has to be the exact opposite. And that solution showed up in the form of a man named Abram, who we would later know as Abraham. But here's the thing. He wasn't just some historical figure. On a cosmic level, he was the living, breathing incarnation of a fundamental universal principle, the Sephirah of Chesed.
Chesed is literally the universe's antidote to constriction. It is pure, uninhibited expansion. Think of the energy of a star, just radiating light and heat without asking for a single thing in return. Or a spring just pouring out water, constantly giving. That's Chesed. It's the driving force of this outward-flowing unconditional love and kindness. And we're not just talking about a nice personality trait here. This is a metaphysical force. The Sefer HaKadosh explains that Abraham's entire life was basically a performance of Chesed. Just think about his story. He leaves his home, everything he knows. That's a huge act of expansion beyond his own boundaries. He opens his tent on all four sides to welcome total strangers. That's a physical act that represents an open channel of giving. In this constricted, broken world, he was the living antidote. He was generating an energy of pure expansion that started to push back against that cosmic blockage. Okay, so now we get to the real heart of the code, the central revelation. This is where it gets wild. It all comes down to a single verse, Genesis 2:4, which says, "These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created." And the key is hidden right there, in plain sight, in that Hebrew word for when they were created, bihabarim. And this is where the Zohar in the Midrash Hana Elam just drops a bombshell on us. It reveals that the letters of the word Behibar Am, when they were created, are a perfect anagram for the letters of Be Avraham, which means through Avraham. Do you see it? The secret is that the verse isn't just telling you when the world was created, it's telling you how it was completed. The Zohar is basically saying, read the verse like this. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth through Avraham. His existence wasn't some afterthought, it was the very mechanism for creation to be fulfilled.
But wait, it goes even deeper. The Harkanati commentary points out this absolutely stunning connection. The Zohar says the world was created with the letter He, He. Now, what's the one letter that was added to Abram's name to transform him into Abraham? The letter He. This letter represents the Shekinah, the divine feminine channel, the whole principle of receptivity and making things grow. So by adding the He to Abram, God was infusing him with the exact same creative, generative power that was used to form the entire cosmos. His own personal story becomes the blueprint for the universal activation.
Okay, so we've got the principle, which is Chesed, and we've got the agent, Abraham. Now let's get into the mechanics. How did this actually work? Because this wasn't just some magical spell. This was a full-on cosmic engineering project designed to repair and reopen those divine channels, the tzinorot, that had been clogged up since the time of Adam. So let's trace the flow of this activation. It's a clear sequence. First, Abraham embodies pure, expansive Chesed. This energy acts like a kind of cosmic drain cleaner, just dissolving the blockages in the channels. The Sefer Shaarei Tzedek even calls him a cosmic plumber, which is just fantastic. So once the channels are open, the divine flow, the shefa, can finally be drawn down from its super high source. And then finally, this flow breathes life into and sustains the dormant worlds, bringing them all online. You can even think of it like a fairy tale, right? The universe is this frozen kingdom where everything and everyone is just stuck in ice. People are like statues, the rivers aren't flowing, the sun is out, but it gives no warmth. And then the hero, Abraham, shows up, and he's carrying the flame of kindness, that's Chesed. And everywhere he goes, his flame melts the ice. It awakens the people, and he basically presses the play button on the entire universe. The cosmic engineering analogy is maybe even more on the nose. Imagine a massive, fully architected computer system that's just been powered off. Abram's life of Chesed is the execution command. You run that command, and it starts a system-wide diagnostic. It purges all the corrupted files, and it shifts the entire universe from this dormant, read-only state into a live, active runtime. He didn't build the system, but he was the code that booted it up.
And now, for the deepest secret of all, the Zohar plays with the Hebrew words again. The root for created, which is bara, bra, can be rearranged to form the word iver, aver, which means limb. So the quote says that when Abraham arrived, creation itself was transformed into a limb. What on earth does that mean? Well, Abraham's name can even be read as Aver Mom, which hints at the divine procreative organ. So he didn't just open a channel, he became the very mechanism for a continuous, generative flow of life into all the worlds.
Now, it is so important to understand that Abraham's work wasn't some one-time fix. He didn't just reboot the system and then walk away. What he did was establish an entirely new cosmic operating principle, a new protocol for how divine energy would flow into the world from that moment on. And this new protocol is called Itaruta Delita, which means an arousal from below. The Sefer Me'artishat Halukut explains that before the system broke, divine flow was all top-down. After the crash, that connection was broken, so Abraham established a totally new model. Now flow is initiated from below. Our actions, our consciousness, our acts of kindness, they send a signal upstairs, which arouses a divine response and draws down that flow. We became active participants in our own reality. And this is his ongoing legacy. The great repair, the tikkun olam, it continues through us. Using the language from the Sefer Chesed, La Abraham, every single time we perform an act of kindness, every time we connect with another person with that genuine chesed, we are participating in the exact same tikkun that Abraham started. We are literally continuing to perfect and repair what was broken way back at the beginning. So this brings this massive cosmic story right down to this very moment. This isn't ancient history. The system that Abraham booted up, the one that runs on arousal from below, is the very system we are living in right now. And its functionality, its health, its continued operation, well, it depends directly on us. So the big takeaway here is this. You are not just a passive user of the universe. You are its co-engineer. When you choose to act with Chesed, with that expansive, unconditional kindness, you are performing a metaphysical function. You are acting as a conduit, just like Abraham did. You are opening clogged channels in your own life and in the world around you, and you are actively continuing this incredible process of cosmic activation. And this quote just frames our mission perfectly. The goal is to resemble our Creator. But how? Not by just thinking about divinity, but by emulating its actions. The essence of the divine, the text tells us, is in its actions of giving and expansion. Our daily deeds of kindness, they aren't small, insignificant things. They are the continuation of the absolute grandest project in the entire cosmos. So as we close out, we want to leave you with a really practical thought. This isn't just theory. Think about your own life for a second. Your relationships, your community. What channels have maybe gotten a little clogged or sealed off? Where has the flow of kindness or connection or generosity just stopped? What's one action you can take this week to open just one of those channels? And a final, deeper question for you to carry with you. Beyond just one single action, how can you start to shift your own internal operating system? How can you consciously embody this principle of expansion, of Chesed, and become a living, breathing conduit for divine flow, and continue the work that started all those years ago with Abraham? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Part S. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.